Hi, my name is Monica Alford. I'm the founder and CEO of Wildside Media, and I'm very excited to be back in Legacy Sessions today to interview Emmett Farah and Andrew Williams, who are the executive producers of District Dreamers Film Festival, which is on April 5th and 6th at Stable Arts in Eckington. Welcome, guys.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good.
Yeah. So we are very close to the festival date, and I wanted to make sure I had a chance to give everyone a sneak peek. And Emmett, I know this was your baby, your inspiration, and you are the founder. And so I wanted to hear, how this came to fruition, and then also how you brought Andrew in as your co-producer.
Yeah, so District Dreamers is, kind of key word in the name is Dreamers, and we wanted this to be a festival that kind of celebrates emerging filmmakers within the region. As a independent filmmaker, producer myself, it took a village and a lot of mentorship to get to the place that I am. And there's still a lot more growing that I need to have as a professional in this space. But this festival was an opportunity for us to put together an event that allows, other filmmakers within the region to submit their work and find, and have a network opportunity for collaborations, within the space, whether it's documentary, scripted or unscripted type work that, a lot of filmmakers, use festivals as an opportunity to, kind of find their voice and get recognition and things like that. So that was kind of our starting point to get this thing to the next, to get this thing to be a weekend event. Little background is, we had originally had some work within a few, filmmakers ourselves to do some screenings, but Malik over at Stable Arts, where we're going to be hosting this, as I was describing, what kind of screenings we were doing, he was like, "You're literally describing a festival," and and so I couldn't argue that, and so around September, that's when I started to create the blueprint of what this weekend will look like, and around, I'd say, October is when I pitched Andrew at this idea, and ever since we've just been grinding it out, planning it, and figuring out what kind of what we want this thing to look like, but not only just that, what we want the mission to be.
Sure.
And again, the mission is we want this to be a contained festival that focuses on the regional talent of filmmakers. So that's kind of the long and short of it.
Wonderful. Cool. So can you tell me a little bit about the lineup and the programming for the 2 days?
Yeah, good question. So the lineup will kind of reflect a mixture between the opportunities for emerging filmmakers, whether that's student filmmakers to independent filmmakers like myself, to have a platform in order to distribute their work to the local audiences. And then the other side is also having pretty established producers and filmmakers that will present their work that has gone through major festivals like Tribeca or Sundance or international festivals that are that have seen success for themselves. So we want to show local filmmakers, and cinephiles even to come and see that this is a region where a lot of talent is coming out of. And so the festival will have, filmmakers that are, filmmakers and producers that, not only currently reside in the district, but, we have part of the selection committee as far out as Australia that are going to be part of it, and Los Angeles and Houston and New York. So we are getting a lot of eyes that would, be an opportunity for these emerging filmmakers or any other filmmakers that attend the event that really want to, see that the district is a place to invest time and resources into. So that's kind of what you'll expect when you come.
So it'll be screenings both days, all day?
So yeah,
what's the format?
Yeah, so the format is, so Friday night is going to be kind of focusing on the kind of success in film, basically. So a lot of the filmmakers that are coming through it's not part of the showcase. This is just to kind of set a baseline of what success looks like in this space. And so we're getting a Tribeca film that's screening. They were selected in 2022. It's called Chicken. We're having another animation short film that's going to be submitted that had won in London. And so things or films like that are going to be on Friday night. The panels that are going to be, or the panel that is going to be present on Friday night is also going to be kind of based around the subject matter of how to make a film, not from the creative side, but from the business side. And because a lot of people need to know that it's not just about, the writing the script is, a obviously a large component of it, but it's how to get this, like, how do you get a film to the screen?
Yeah.
Right. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of resources in order to get to that. So we're going to be teaching a lot of people through the panel and through other means of networking, just how do you get this thing distributed.
I want to pause right there because I think that's brilliant. And I don't think a lot of folks are doing that in the city. I literally hosted a panel. It was my third year doing it last Thursday at La Cosecha, where it's part of GDC and Shop Made DC's programming. And it's usually like a women in business type theme, right? And so I worked with Maria Bastache, who's Disco Mary Collective and Playhouse, to co-curate. And we wanted to focus on intersectionality in business, but also we wanted folks to come out with a tangible toolkit. Like some of them don't know how to apply for grants. I put Courtney, who's a dear friend of ours who has run Interloop for 10 years, a literary series, and has made it a viable, business with great access to grants, but it took time. So for example, to know that, or like different resources on dc.gov or studio spaces that might exist, leadership positions, all of those resources that come to bear. Because yes, it's great to walk out of a panel or a creative event and feel like you made some connections or felt a sense of community, or it's aspirational or it's inspirational. But we all need the actual, tangible takeaways to support one another. And it's not the sexiest part, but I think, but you actually come out of it and go, oh, I can go home and maybe do this, or I can call Emmett and Andrew and maybe they can mentor me and I can, learn from them. So I think it's brilliant you're doing that, and I will guarantee like the amount of reception I've already received and feedback on, thank you so much, and I'm excited to start pitching these things. Right, met 5 people I'm going to go, manifest amazing things with. It was pretty. It was pretty.
Well, it's
special.
important because a lot of not everyone can get their MFA. I didn't go to film school. It took, when I mentioned earlier, it's about finding your mentors and finding your collaborators and things like that. And one of the most important, one of my mentors, he's actually on the selection committee, Joe Jenks. He was influential. I met him I was his bartender 7 years ago, and we kept in touch. He has been instrumental in teaching me the business. What does the contracts need to say? What does the line producing do? There's different aspects of how do you get the financing that is so critical in getting your movie made or anything made in this space. So it's
important
really
skill set.
important.
So so that panel's on Friday evening as well.
That panel is on Friday.
And is that how the night ends?
So it's going to be like the screenings are going to be probably around an hour and a half of content that people are going to be. And so what we want to kind of emphasize for the event is not just what you're going to see and what you're going to hear, but opening reception, closing reception, after party. We want people to meet each other, right? We want people to kind of get ask questions face to face and get answers right then and there, and have opportunities to network. So we want, as much as we want this to be a content forward opportunity to watch film, we want people to walk away with connections.
Yeah. And how many participating filmmakers are there that will be?
Do you know? So we
Roughly.
Friday night is going to be.
There's 2 films Friday night.
So 2 films, potentially 3 films Friday night, but we are selecting for Saturday.
6 to 7 films
on Saturday
night, right?
Yeah. So,
so 9 films. I mean, that's a great sample size.
Absolutely. And the filmmakers will all be on site to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if there were those that can make it,
Yes,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like we have some people. One of the films on Friday. She is the producer's not going to be able to be there, but she's going to send some of her team to the event. But yeah, it's going to be kind of that type of yeah.
And then so Saturday, similar format, screenings, and is there another?
So
It'll
Saturdays,
be a full day of
yeah.
screenings,
Got it, okay.
kind of, and then there'll be screenings, and then a kind of balance of screenings and panels
Okay.
as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So Saturday is the showcase, though. So Saturday is going to be the event that we are basically going to provide. Like the official selections for the festival, right?
Got it.
So like filmmakers submitted their work over the last few months. We have our selection committee that is going to rate them and see which and decide which ones are going to be selected into the showcase. And then there's going to be like a best in show, critics' choice, the audience choice, the best in show. People will be able to live vote and choose a winner for that for who comes out as the winner of the showcase on Saturday. So that'll be probably that's the kind of the same format that some of these larger festivals are doing.
Got it. And so it's back to back. So between Friday and Saturday, can you walk me through how many films will be screened and what the selection process looks like?
So on Friday, the selection process for that night is mostly going to be for successful filmmakers. I should say filmmakers that have found success in a lot of the work. So it's still going to be focused on short films, which is allowing us to keep it fairly contained and throughout the weekend. Because we can't just have a bunch of features, hour and a half, 2-hour films, being put into a festival. But that is going to be filmmakers that have seen success at Tribeca, international festivals that out in London and abroad. So that's going to be for Friday night. The community, or I should say, the regional films that we're going to be showcasing are going to be more on Saturday night.
Got it.
So Saturday night is going to be an opportunity for a lot of the submissions that we have gotten. That is basically going to be the competition for. Who's going to be best in show or critics' choice for the festival itself for District Dreamers. How we are selecting them is pretty rigorous from a standpoint of what you would expect. Very not to get too technical with the selection process, but it's going to be a lot of not just like, is the story good, but is it going to be, is the technical parts, cinematography, lighting, sound, like things like that we want filmmakers to come out of it knowing where they, had done really well, but also parts that do they need to improve?
Sure.
They may have been selected, they may have been shown, put into the showcase and had an official selection, but this is an opportunity for these filmmakers to get real critiques on.
It's professional development.
Yeah, it's professional
Yeah,
development.
that's
We don't want
great.
people like, good job,
Right,
everyone
of
gets a
course.
blue ribbon.
Yeah.
We want people to come out of this as an opportunity to say, hey, you're doing really cool work. Like the story arc is really nice. You have some good beats to your script and things that need to be applauded. But from my mentors and anything that I've gone from, how does a story look? I didn't get to where I am, and I
Sure.
still a lot more to go. I wouldn't have been able to do what where I am today if it wasn't for really strong criticism behind my work. So yeah.
Absolutely. And there's such a thing as constructive criticism
Oh,
too,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I have some kind of more macro questions before that, just confirming. So how many films total over the course of the weekend?
So it'll be the Friday night's going to be probably a total of 3.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a shorter night. Again, back to the focus is we want this to be an opportunity to learn. So Friday night's going to be about probably 3 films that probably will be around an hour and a half in duration, and then the panels.
Okay.
Saturday will be a showcase of 6 selected films from the ones that were officially submitted for the showcase, and then the winners come out of that.
Got it.
Obviously, in the future, it will be expanded. We'll be bringing other. We'll have it more genre based to how other films, or I'm sorry, other film festivals kind of curate their events. But yeah, that's going to be our kind of inaugural format of what we're doing. Yeah.
Cool. So, Andrew, I want to kick this question to you. When Emmett first presented you with this idea last fall, what from a macro level, I know this is a kickoff. It's a great touch point for the community. Again, tools in the toolkit, amplifying local voices, and also I want to dig into this a little bit, but later, that DC as a robust creative community where filmmakers should stay here. They don't have to leave and go to LA necessarily or somewhere else. I feel that way about media, also journalism, and artists in general. But why did this opportunity speak to you, and what do you hope comes out of this? This kickoff point in early April that you can continue to support local filmmakers? Like, what's the goal?
Yeah, I think the identity of DC is really misrepresented. There's this idea of like, if you know, when it comes to like the creative community here.
Sure, yeah.
And people that live here know that it's a really thriving place. We know that there's great creatives here, but it's not really, they don't really get put in the spotlight.
Sure.
So we know that there's a great restaurant industry here, right? The drink culture here is thriving. The music scene, when you talk about like go-go music and punk music, there's always been a place where there's been new ground broken. And so I think one of the missing pieces is film.
Yep.
I feel like filmmakers feel like they have that same type of community. They don't have that same network around them to help them grow in their craft and their skill, and also have access to some of the things that Emmett talked about, which is financing.
Right.
You talked about like there's that mass exodus of creatives leaving here, like musicians and filmmakers. Like how do we keep them here, right? Or keep them coming back, even if they live somewhere else, to create
home
here.
base, and
invest in the community and inspire other filmmakers who are coming up.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. So, what happens, like from a community perspective, if I'm a local that wants to, get a ticket and come support, how can I engage with you guys next? Like, what happens after this weekend? What's coming down the pike?
Yeah. So we want this, to be, the festival and this time of year. We want this to be kind of like the main attraction, right?
Sure.
So this is going to be something that we hope to be pretty annual from a standpoint of this first week of April, beautiful weather, people starting to come out of their hibernation, and so we want this to be an opportunity for people to have a whole week of celebrating film.
Sure.
In this idea is back to our what Andrew just mentioned and what we talked about a little earlier is just about the having resources available to filmmakers pretty consistently throughout a year. So Dreamers Film Festival is something that we want this to have little vignette events throughout the course of the year. And so having at different locations, different partners, different opportunities to learn for filmmakers to say, hey, like back to the point of you want filmmakers to see the benefit of staying in DC, right? And so having little events, curated events throughout the year is going to be our opportunity to kind of continuously educate and network resources within the film community here.
Sure.
Yeah, the idea is really to have a brand and a brand voice tied to District Dreamers that lasts well beyond the film festival, right? What they were just talking about, whether that's like a panel discussion, like a second screening of one or multiple films, whether that's doing op-eds, doing collaborations with other brands. We really want the city to own this and really help it grow and evolve. And so that's like a big part of the brand, but it really is something that's supposed to last beyond that weekend and then kind of lead up to the next festival.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, right? So this is something that'll grow. It'll be one venue this year, but hopefully there'll be multiple venues in the future and multiple iterations of this that happen around the city.
Yeah. Well, I obviously am excited about it. I'm talking to you about it, but I think this is something I'm having a lot of conversations around too, where it's placemaking and storytelling that, maybe there's one major event or festival, but how do you, leading up to that point and after, there's a repository, a wealth of information that can, be multimedia or through other forms of live storytelling and events to keep the conversation going, to keep the community engaged. And I think DC's been missing that too. And that's been a big thing that, I've worked on both of those type of projects with both of you, and Andrew, you and I have worked in media spaces very closely on that in the past. So I think DC still really needs it.
Yeah.
So I think it's very exciting that you're doing that, and I can see a lot of overlap with, ways to support what you're doing with the festival and filmmakers in particular with other parts of the creative community that the rest of us are like, please come back or please stay or make us home base or go out in the wild and see what you learned and then bring people to DC. That's the other thing, is bringing artists from other cities to want to do things here. More. I think that would be really cool too.
I think that I love that, and I think it's like, for me, it's like three things. It's like information, vision, and will. Like people have to have information to know where things are happening. They have to have access to things, and then they have to have the will to actually follow through and engage in those things. And the more that things like this happen, the more that people like you exist with Wildside Media and District Dreamers is building community, the more that people will come out of their shell and really engage in the city. And then it creates opportunities for new things to happen.
Yeah, I mean, just having been, I think one thing that is very important, and there are, festivals in DC, and I'm not trying to, discredit them. They've done really important work for the community of film. But you get to really see when you put, the successes behind what film festivals can do for a city, right? Whether that is Austin, whether that is, other locations around the world that have, been very successful in film festivals. That brings so much to a city. And I think from, our perspective, we see just the resources that come in and provide filmmakers an opportunity to really get put on the map. Like, you've seen incredible success of films that have been able, or when I say films, of producers and filmmakers find incredible success by putting their stuff into festivals around the world, and that's part of what we want to really emphasize for this first run, is to say, hey, look at us. We want this to be an opportunity for the city and other collaborators to say, hey, hang out with us. Let's do something cool together and be the next Austin that can see South by Southwest, and what has brought that success for the city. That's an opportunity for the district to have, not just be focused on politics and other things like that. We want this to be a vibrant scene that brings people from all over the world too.
Yeah, it's smart. I think World Pride being here is getting a lot of people inspired. I know there's been some conversations around us doing some version of an Art Basel, bringing South by Southwest and these other festivals. I think it's starting to move in the right direction.
It really is.
For sure.
Absolutely, it is. And I think that is just with people that I'm not from DC, and I'll be but it's become my home. And I've been here for a decade, and if it wasn't for again the community that opened its arms and allowed me in, and in a very intimidating space, in terms of the creative space in DC, it was just, it's something that I think really, a place that needs to celebrate itself when they on a world stage, not just from the local fabric.
Absolutely, yeah. And that is one of our strong points, that we have so many folks that are transient. But I will say, as someone who grew up here, went to school in Boston, didn't plan to come back, came back, fell in love in a different way. But I always give the rule of 3 to 5 years. I say you're a local, because that's already like a, anytime I see a close friend, especially in the creative community, and they're like, I have big news. I'm like, please don't tell me you're moving. I feel like that's always it. And I'm ready to have my heart broken. But generally speaking, I can think of truly dozens of close friends that are along the East or West Coast, or somewhere, some are overseas, but some are in the middle of the country, but they stay in touch. They still have roots here. It's a little harder to stay connected. I can't necessarily go have a cup of coffee with them regularly, but they come back to DC a lot. And so you are 100% a local. Both of you have been here long enough at this point. And I think that's kind of the magic of DC, is that community is so intimate still, that while we want it to grow, there's so much, internal championing and cheerleading
100%.
to support one another. So, I think that's very unique. I don't know that any other major city has that, with the amount of power and talent that we have in this city. I don't know that anybody else can claim that. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Is there anything else about this weekend in particular, the April 5th, 6th kickoff, that you want, our listeners/viewers to know about?
I would add that, I mean, and I think that Emmett knows his role better than I do, but I love films. I mean, I think obviously Emmett loves film. But for people who are cinephiles or like aspiring cinephiles to like celebrate the magic of film, the magic of like the way that stories are told through film. I think for me, there's no better way that a story is told, and what better way to tell the story of like how the city has evolved than through celebrating local filmmakers and inviting people in the community and local businesses there
Yes.
to be involved. I know we had talked about that second day. We've been really intentional about curating the businesses that are involved in this and the partners that are coming along. We have Bailiwick, who sells really great branded DC gear that I see like everyone wearing, right? We have Blossom Beverages that everyone seems to be drinking. We have Maurice James Jr., who's a local up-and-coming graphic design artist who is really amazing. There's just a lot of people like their Lost Generation Brewing.
Yeah.
So there's these
Which is neighbors with Stable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
this
cool.
is really
Yeah.
amazing community that we're building around the film festival this
Sure.
year of local business owners, and that's because we want the city to own this. And so
Yeah.
I'd say
Smart.
people come for the filmmakers and to support them and then learn about the industry, but also come to enjoy film and enjoy
Yep.
the experience of going to the film,
Yeah.
to go in to see a film with others in the community.
Yeah.
And then
And support
celebrate
local
these-
businesses, it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, I would also add on top of that is the, excuse my French, but the filmmakers are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that the aspect of, what these filmmakers putting out, because I've seen them from all the submissions that have been put through
Sure.
that no one has really seen yet. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
really fun to watch these guys, these filmmakers, again, back to the, especially for a creative, putting out work that is, probably the first time eyes are going to see it in the public.
Sure.
It's very intimidating to put your work out there to the world
Sure.
and have them have that baby be loved,
Yeah.
right? And so that is something I just want to applaud and celebrate these filmmakers that are, for the first time submissions that they're putting out there is really exciting because that's something that is, again, really, something intimate to themselves. And so, I'm just want to make sure that anyone that's going to come to this festival, this is a celebration of those filmmakers
Yeah.
and of the people that are coming in attendance to feel pride that this was filmed right in Chinatown or this was filmed right in their local neighborhoods. That's
Sure.
something that I think people really need to. When they see it on the screen, they'll be able to see, oh crap, I go and get my coffee there. Like
Right,
that's
right.
that's
Yeah,
exciting,
yeah,
right?
of
That's really
course.
fun.
Yeah. Well, I think the last thing is just to tell people how to find you online and how
Yeah.
to get their tickets. And
Yeah, the website is dreamersfilmfestival.com. That is where you can learn about the festival. You can learn about buy tickets each day on the 5th and the 6th. There is a 2-day pass, so I would highly recommend getting that to see the showcases on Saturday. That's the competition, but a lot of great content to watch on Friday and to learn a lot on Friday. So I would definitely recommend buying the 2-day pass, and that's it. But yeah, we really to follow us on social media. It is District
Dreamers Film Festival.
District Dreamers Film Festival. That's our tag or our handle to kind of follow not just what's happening on this weekend, not this weekend, but April 5th and 6th, but also all the other events that we'll be following throughout
Sure.
2024 and the rest of the future of it.
yeah, and hopefully some additional storytelling because I'd love to speak
Yeah.
with some of these filmmakers and
Yes.
amplify their
Yeah,
work for folks
yeah.
that aren't able to go.
We're going to be
the,
really, really happy with
festival.
what they're putting out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And I think the other thing to add is that we wanted to make sure that this wasn't like a cost prohibitive thing.
Sure.
So like the tickets are, I think it's $40 for like a
2-day pass.
2-day pass.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's something that other people in the community can, I think, a lot of people can afford to go to, whether you're a student or a professional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in support of local artists and local
Yes.
businesses,
Yeah.
so that
Yes.
totally
Yeah.
makes sense. That
Yeah.
seems like a very reasonable price point. Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanks.
cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Monica.
Great.
Of course.